Top prosecutor fired days after scaring Jeffrey Epstein's famous friends by suing JPMorgan Chase. I don't believe in coincidences. They fired her because she was getting too close. She was going to find out who was actually giving Jeffrey Epstein this money, and they wanted to stop her from doing it, so they fired her, I believe, and they're going to put in someone that will make this case go away. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store where I will not comply t-shirts. So check that out as well. All right, let's talk about this news. The Virgin Islands top prosecutor was fired days after she sued JPMorgan Chase for helping the disgraced Jeffrey Epstein. On December 27th, then Virgin Islands Attorney General Denise George filed a lawsuit that said, quote, JP Morgan turned a blind eye to evidence of human trafficking over more than a decade because of Epstein's own financial footprint and because of the deals and clients that Epstein brought and promised to bring to the bank. These decisions were advocated and approved at the senior levels of JP Morgan, including by the former chief executive of its asset management division and investment bank, whose inappropriate relationship with Epstein should have been evident to the bank. Indeed, it was only after Epstein's death that JP Morgan belatedly complied with federal banking regulations regarding Epstein's account. Over more than a decade, JP Morgan clearly knew it was not complying with federal regulations in regard to Epstein related accounts, as evidenced by its too little too late efforts after Epstein was arrested on federal sex trafficking charges and shortly after his death when JP Morgan belatedly complied with federal law. I relieved Denise George of her duties as Attorney General this weekend, Governor Albert Bryan Jr. said. So, Mr. Governor, Mr. Governor, why did you do that? Why did you why did you fire the Attorney General for looking into this? I think we all know why. But he goes on to say, quote, I thank her for her service to the people and the territory during the past 4 years as Attorney General and wish her the best in her future endeavors. Assistant Attorney General Carol Thomas Jacobs will serve as acting Attorney General. So I wonder who put the pressure on the government. On the governor? They probably have dirt on him. So that's why, and they pressured him, and probably was like, hey, if you don't get rid of this Attorney General, we're gonna drop this on you. It was a similar thing that happened in Ukraine where with Burisma, when Ukraine was investigating Burisma, they fired the prosecutor because of Joe Biden. Joe Biden pressured them and said they wouldn't give them the money if they didn't fire the prosecutor. Did something like that happen here? But the lawsuit scared Epstein's famous friends, alleging at one point, quote, human trafficking was the principal business of the accounts Epstein maintained at J.P. Morgan. The complaint accuses J.P. Morgan Chase of concealing, quote, wire and cash transactions that raised suspicion of a criminal enterprise whose currency was the sexual servitude of young girls. Last month, two anonymous women who accused Epstein of sexual abuse filed civil lawsuits against J.P. Morgan and Deutsche Bank, claiming banks enabled and benefited financially from Epstein's sex trafficking operation. The women accused J.P. Morgan of having, quote, provided special treatment to the sex trafficking venture, thereby ensuring its continued operation and sexual abuse and sexual trafficking of young women and girls. Without the financial institution's participation, Epstein's sex trafficking scheme could not have existed, the lawsuit says. Bradley Edwards, a lawyer in the case against Deutsche Bank, told the Wall Street Journal earlier, quote, the time has come for real enablers to be held responsible, especially his wealthy friends and the financial institutions that played an integral role. These victims were wronged by many, not just Epstein. he did not act alone. And I 1000% agree. But you see what happens when you get too close. When you start investigating and looking into this, they will fire you. And that's exactly what happened here. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out themarkrepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.